So this is basically going to be a comparison between old eBay versus new eBay, and why exactly I consider new eBay or new way to sell is not anywhere as good as it used to be. So these are all the benefits that used to exist in eBay when I first started a while, about 14 years ago. So here's the benefits which don't exist anymore. So in the past, you sell a product, you get paid instant. That means you don't pay for postage beforehand, you don't do any of that, it's already paid for you, so you don't have to use your own extra money. That itself was a big advantage. That was one of the things that did to a certain degree make eBay take off, because, make it simple, if you had, say, a little bit of debt, or you don't have money for some reason, it doesn't really matter, you could quite easily sell your stuff and make some cash. That was the kind of attraction to it. It could be a small scale, maybe an extra 100 a month, 200,000, whatever it be. That was made it quite attractive. But now they don't do that, so that kind of defeats the kind of a point of what made eBay cool. It was the sense you could just take your stuff you didn't need anymore, you just want to rid of for some reason, sell it, and then obviously buy what you need, or simply have extra cash or extra space in your house. That doesn't apply anymore. Another thing is what I find quite bizarre about this whole new postal system compared to past is you have to wait until the person has actually received it, which seems to me a bit overkill. I mean, if, for example, for instance, you had to say, make it simple, you had to present some sort of proof of tracking, I think that's fine. I wouldn't really mind about that. But taking the extreme, you have to then wait till a person does it. So, for example, for instance, say you post on a Monday, and you get tracking, and say goes to person, say, Thursday, something like that, you might find you only get paid on Thursday, Friday, or something even later. I've seen in some cases it actually takes 7 days for you to be able to get it. Another thing is what I find really bizarre compared to old eBay versus new is they always want you to sign in, and they claim it's for security, but again, that's not true, because I mean, if we're going to be fair and we're going to be factual, who is a professional hacker and decides it's going to be worthwhile taking over a new account to change someone's username? Does that make any sense? Does that sound a good idea? Is that what a professional black hat hacker is going to do? Change your username on an account which you haven't even sold anything on yet? Does that make sense? It makes no sense. So either that's a security thing, it's just stupid. And as well, I noticed even when I just added a simple product, you got to keep signing in. There's no point of that. It's just wasting time. It's also just putting more server stress on your servers, because you keep forcing people to have to keep logging in all the time. I mean, another sort of good example compared to how it used to work is it was quite easy. You could add 10 products or something, 50, 100, whatever you want. These things didn't exist, but now you can only sell one of them thing. But what happens if you got two of them? I mean, make it simple. Maybe you bought 2 jackets and for some reason you got them at a special offer and you want to sell 2 of them. Why exactly on a new account can you only sell one at a time? Or you can only sell one quantity? That to me again just sounds sort of stupid. And in some cases I go as far as saying like dictatorship, because compared to past, none of these issues existed. Another thing is what I've noticed compared to past is, in the past, before we sort of changed all things to make it more worse, it was very easy to get hold of someone on live chat and our voices or eBay to support, but these sort of things seem to be either you can't get hold of someone or it takes forever, because to compare in the past, a few years when I first started it, if I was to phone up eBay, it'd be fairly easy for me to get through most times a day within around 10 to say max half an hour. Now if I'm phoning, I can be waiting anywhere from like an hour to even longer. And in a lot of cases it takes so long you just give up. But again, go back to past, when it was actually probably a busier site, because eBay I do know has lost traffic, so I would be inclined to believe that probably is still the case. And another thing I also find quite bizarre about eBay compared to the past is everything they try and make so complicated, so messy to basically sell things. I mean, if someone is, for example, let's make it simple. Let's just say someone is an antique expert and they know every single thing about this antique or this toy, whatever you're selling. Okay, cool. But a lot of people who sell products don't know everything. I mean, how exactly is every single person meant to know the exact location of the manufacturer? I mean, how are you supposed to know? Because I mean, I do know quite a lot of companies lie about where it's manufactured. So I mean, for argument's sake, if it says it's made in Spain, it could be made in another country. That does happen sometimes. But even if it was, just to make it simple, say it was another country, say Vietnam instead of Spain, or another country instead, why exactly does that in any way matter to the product. I mean, this is not really a government checking job, it's just selling products. Why do you need all these sort of things? I mean, I can understand, make it simple, if you're selling healthcare products, so a pharmacy. Yeah, that would make sense, or you're selling drugs or something, I would agree. But for things outside of that area, does it really matter that much where exactly a product's made? To me, it doesn't. To me, it's just, again, kind of just going extreme dictator style mode regarding what used to work. And I had quite an interesting conversation with a guy who used to sell on eBay and then stopped because of basically sort of rules in place. And I can kind of get what he's saying, because what he was really saying was the reason I stopped selling on basically eBay was basically because of how exactly systems changed to getting very extreme rules compared to the past. Because in the past, you just basically write a quick description of your product, you upload a few images, then you find out it sells. I've also noticed as well, another thing as well, before getting bored to what a person's saying was this is the case, is you get a lot less views than used to compared to past. And one thing that I also noticed as well, as I thought was a bit weird, is even when you read the views itself seem to change at random. Because, to give you an example, 1 minute it tells me it's 5 views, then next minute it's 2, then next minute it's 50. It just seems to go up and down at random. So even the view account I can't trust, because it just seems to make it up. I mean, I'm guessing that's probably because they got bad artificial intelligence or simply bad coding done. But even the view count you can't trust. It could be one person, it could be 10, it could be 50, it could be 100. You don't really know. It just seems to make it up. That's something I've noticed as well quite a few times. Even when I do, for trial and error, use different IPs to check it, it doesn't register anything. And that's what I've noticed quite a few times. I've also asked people in our countries or our areas to check it, and it doesn't register. I've found quite a few cases. So you can't even trust the views, but you could in the past. It was much better. And this is where I kind of go back to what the guy was saying to me, which I kind of agree with. I mean, if you want to sell on eBay, you can still do it, but it's not going to be as good as the past. That's why he basically said he's just going to start selling on Gumtree, even though it's slower. It's just, in his opinion, basically more fair, which I would kind of agree, because if you consider how many hoops you got to jump through all the time, you have to keep logging in all the time, it sort of kind of defeats the purpose of it being user friendly or even making things easier. Because I mean, just make it simple. I mean, could I trust if I sold £1,000 worth of stuff this month or next month, could I trust eBay to pay me or give up money? No. Because another thing as well, they screwed up badly with regard to, I believe this is still a case, PayPal and eBay basically bought PayPal, if I remember, or one of them bought it. Anyway, then they decided to separate companies. Okay, cool. So now you don't get any of the protection you used to get on from PayPal, which is a bit stupid. I mean, if someone said, for example, I don't want to use PayPal, I don't trust it, something like that, that's cool. But I still think you should have the option, if you want to be able to use PayPal to pay for things, or you should have the option to get paid in PayPal, or have the option to get paid in Stripe, or other versions. Or you could potentially include crypto as well. Maybe crypto's a bit too much for them, but I would definitely say having PayPal functionality more easy to make, it would be a lot better than what this current system is. And that's why in general for me, it's just pretty kind of crap compared to the past. Because in the past it was just so much better compared to other things. Because I have actually heard from a few different people for the past little while who have basically left eBay for other things, such as left it for Gumtree, Etsy, and basically other versions, or simply set up their own website, because what you're getting compared to the past is just really not as good. Because I mean, they even go as far as saying, even if you want to just use free Facebook groups itself, free Facebook groups are probably better now. Because at least in free Facebook groups, at least you can upload what you want in most cases, as long as it's obviously not something like a GAN or something like that, you can probably sell it. But for eBay itself, you have all these weird rules to follow, which don't help you, they don't help the consumer, they don't help eBay, it just wastes time. And that's why in general I wouldn't really recommend eBay unless you really want to do it, or you can't be bothered making. If you can't be bothered making a website, you don't want to, it could work fine. But compared to other platforms, other selling services, it's not that good, honestly. And compared to past, it was way better like 10 years ago. 10 years ago, yeah, it was pretty good. No complaints there. But now, even just to log in, I've got to do it sometimes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times a day just to upload a couple of products. I mean, That's just mental. I mean, it doesn't help me, it doesn't help the website, it just puts stress under it. But this is again what happens when you have people who clearly don't understand how e-commerce works, or don't understand that creating issues for things don't help people, it just makes things worse. Anyway, that's my thoughts for why I wouldn't really recommend eBay unless you really want to do it. You would be better off just setting up your own website, or simply selling Facebook groups, or simply set up an Etsy shop or some other platform. There's many different platforms you can use if you want to do something over eBay, whether you're doing it at a small scale, a medium scale, or large scale. You've got many platforms. For example, if you don't feel comfortable coding things, or you don't feel comfortable doing things, you can quite easily make it simple. You can quite easily use Shopify. Shopify itself is probably one of the easiest e-commerce softwares you can use. There is other options, but Shopify itself would probably be easiest for most people. And plus, everything's already set up for you within reason, of course. You still have to pay your monthly fee, you obviously have to register a domain, but Shopify itself is probably the easiest for most people unless they already come from a website designing background, or search optimization background, or something else connected to selling products online. Anyway, that's all. Thanks, and hope you have a good day and good week. See ya.